What's happening, brother?
Hey, hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Spot on, man, mate. Appreciate you coming on the fuse, bro.
No worries, man.
I thought I'd go back, mate. I know you've said it on a couple of podcasts before, but I was wondering if you could just get into where it all started when you turned pro.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Whatever you want, man.
I'll just turn this up, mate. 2 seconds. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
You've just got back from America, haven't you?
Yeah, literally just like a couple of days ago.
What, did you go over there for the Knuckle Mania too?
Yeah, went over there just like sort out the last bits and bobs. I'm hopefully going to live there in like 3 weeks, but just need like the last bits of my visa and stuff like that doing.
Yeah, I seen you're going to be out there with Louis Palomino and that, and you're training with them.
Yeah, big opportunity.
Are you sorted out with the BKFC now then?
Yeah, so it's looking like I'm going to be fighting for BKFC. I now have like management and an agent and everything else, so they'll be like looking after all that. You know, I don't need to that to the promoter now.
Yeah, I seen on one of the BKFC podcasts, David Feldman says that like you have sorted things out and that now, and he's a good
Yeah,
with each other.
they invited me. They invited me back on the show in like November, and was like saying themselves they wanted me back and everything else. So yeah, look, they're the biggest platform, aren't they? The bare knuckle in America. So
yeah, it's getting massive now, bro. As well, it's getting massive.
Big over there. Yeah, the shows are massive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So where did it all start for you, bro? I know didn't you start boxing when you were 11 years old?
Mm.
And how old were you when you turned over to the paid ranks?
I started boxing in about 10 actually, but I'd done it just to lose weight. Mum, dad took me down to the local boxing gym, and then I just it just took over my life really. And then I started going down to professional boxing gym when I was about 15, sparring and what have you in London, and they offered me a contract in that when I was like 18, maybe just 19 at the time. And yeah, I took it, and that's when I turned pro, like 19 years old.
Who did you turn over with, pro?
I was with Tony Sims.
All right.
Tony Sims now, who has, he's been training alongside like Joshua, John Ryder, we had Kevin Mitchell, we had Ricky Burns. I was in
Is Tony Sims the one who's training Conor Benn now?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really established gym. Like I say, I was sparring world champions, 2 or 3 days a week. It was great, really.
Yeah, so you've done a bit of sparring with Rocky Fielding, didn't you, when you were younger?
Yeah, when I was do you know what? That was on my first. So I won the junior ABAs, and I got to the final as well. And I was only ever invited on one like squad training up at the Rotunda gym, and I went up there, and everyone sparred with people their weight to sort of prove who was the best and all this and that. And I was about 69 kilo at the time. Yeah, like I say, it was like 15, 16 perhaps. And they chucked me in with Rocky Fielding at the time. I don't know how old he was at the time, but he was about 80 odd kilo. And he nailed me with a body shot in there. He took me to pieces, to be honest.
It's all that's aired on another podcast. Can't remember which one it was though, but I heard that you'd done the sparring with Rocky and got set up.
Body shot. I remember the body shot. That was like the real first time I've been really dug with a nasty body shot. Cheers,
so
Rocky.
I bet you sparred some pros, did you? And when you were pro?
Say again, sorry.
I bet you got to spar some good pros when you were actually like fighting pro.
Like I say, as a pro, I remember when I fought for the Ricky Borland fight for the English title, I was sparring 12 4-minute rounds with Ricky Burns like 2-3 days a week. It was just up like I say, Kevin Mitchell, John Ryder, Darren Barker. The list went on. Honestly, I was sparring, a lot of world champions week in, week out. I was a young kid myself. Do you know what I mean? I was 22,
Yeah.
20 old. So, yeah, you know, it was a lot at the time, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, you signed with Eddie Hearn as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I was with Eddie Hearn I fought on Eddie Hearn shows from the age of about 20 till about 23. Yeah, I was like pretty, you know, pretty well known tear ups. Like I fought Tyrone Nurse up at the MEN Arena in Manchester. Like I say, Ricky Boylan, John Wayne Hibbert at the O2 as well. Danny Connor, I fought him on the third fight at the XL Arena. Yeah, I had a pretty established boxing career, to be fair, before I went into all the bare knuckle madness, you know.
Yeah. Did you prefer the fighting with gloves on or with them off?
With them off, I couldn't now personally go back to boxing. I found like the sport. Like one thing I would say with boxing. I mean, you know, you could never fault me for heart or anything like that. But my style was, you know, I come to fight. I like to stand and trade, and you know, for the end of the crowd, really. But yeah, you know, I like to stand and fight. And the people I struggled with and the people who beat me were the ones that sort of, you know, nicked the points, you know, jabbed and moved and stuff like that. Just with the bare knuckle, I found that, look, you know, at some point in the fight, you're gonna have to stand and fight, and
Yeah.
that's my game down to a T. You know what I mean?
So how did you get the call? Where did it come about to turn over to bare knuckle?
So I was like 26 years old, so I'm 30 now. I was 26 years old. I'd just done a podcast and I was sort of talking about like old stories of, you know, my boxing days and, you know, what I've been through, the weight cuts and everything else. And yeah, I spoke about one of the weight cuts for when I made like 10 stone against.
Or something like that.
And a week later, the boxing board sent me a letter and said that they took my license off me, and that if I wanted to get it back, I had to take a lawyer in front of the board and all stuff like that. So, you know, for me, that was I just rung them up and said, right, that's me, I'm done, retired. And then I sort of just went into like you do for 6 months, living life, but living life without something you've done for like 15, 16 years at this point. It was very hard. And then I started to get the itch back, and it was almost like it was meant to happen. It was on the BBC News, talking about bare knuckle boxing being the new rising sport in Britain. Said the promoters and everything else, and gosh, I just literally put a message in. They rang me back, and then 2 months later, I was in there having my first fight.
How did it feel after the first fight? Was it everything that you expected, or more, or not as much as what you expected?
Nah, it was more. It was definitely more. It was. I think it where it's fight as well. Like I fought Tony Laffey in my first fight, who's just an absolute all guns blazing, come and take your head type fighter. It really was like a baptism of fire. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was given an easy fight. The guy come in like
you were shot in the deep end, like on your first fight.
thrown well in at the deep
On
end.
the ball, to be honest, mate.
It was just literally like one thing I'd say to everyone was, you know, coming from a traditional boxing background where you sort of got 10, 12 rounds, you sort of come out looking for your shots. You know what I mean? You're sort of jabbing, having a look, and that's not something you can afford to do in bare knuckle. Like you have to do that pleasure that's not there. So you need to get with the pace of bare knuckle, or you just get knocked out. And I can remember getting back to the corner, and my trainer was just like, "You better wake the fuck up." Like, trading with this guy. This guy's going to take your head off. Do you know what I mean? And I got to my boxing, but I'd sort of got my head with the pace of the fight, and from there I was all right. But yeah, that first round, real like baptism of fire, it really was.
Yeah, because it's totally different, isn't it? Like, even when you've just got your guard up, you haven't got your gloves in the extra space, so you can still get clogged with your guard up.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like, you know, the shots, everything, you know, you got to throw the shots differently. You know, you're damaging your hands, and yeah, it's a different sport to itself. You know, you've got boxing, you've got MMA, and then you've got bare knuckle in the middle. It is a different sport.
Yeah. So, who would you say give you your hardest fight in the BKB?
I would say Sean George. I think I personally, I'm obviously biased, but you look at that fight with Sean George. I think it's the best bare knuckle fight there is. I think
tough as any Sean George.
In terms of like technical, how fit we were, everything. It was all on display, and like I say, we both fought our A games that night. It was a great fight. It really was.
Yeah, it was quality. It was every single round. It was just
non-stop. And I think I watch it and I look back on this. You look at it and you're like, we haven't got gloves on, and we're punching each other like we've got boxing gloves on. Do you know what I mean? It was that, and I can just remember I stayed in a hotel for that fight, and I had to stay for another like 2 nights after that because my hands were so swollen I couldn't even drive home. My hands were that.
I remember watching the event live, and like obviously I was following you on Insta as well, so I was watching your story and everything about it because it was that much of a good fight. Even like the interviews and everything after it was deep on it because the respect you had for each other and that, and the absolute war that you have just went through.
Yeah. No, it was it just had like I say, we're two fighters that really pride ourselves on being fit and strong. We really do train hard, and for 7 rounds that was just non-stop. Like the fitness, the strength was there from both of us. And like I say, I think if you were to show someone who's never seen bare knuckle boxing before, that is the fight to show them, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it was one of the best fights I've ever seen, like, to be honest. So from the BKB, obviously David Feldman's got in touch with you. How did it come about with the BKFC? Because I know they got in touch with you once and you never accepted it, didn't you? And then they contacted you again.
Yeah, so that BKFC actually got hold of me before the Sean George fight, and wanted me to go over there and fight for them. And obviously, I was. It's a great gesture. You want America want to come over and you to fight there. That's the dream at the end of the day, to fight in America. So, obviously I was very flattered, but I wanted the Sean George fight. The Sean George fight in my 3rd fight, he was, one of the best guys in it. So I wanted to prove myself, and I took that fight. And then, from there they were crying out for me. Really, they wanted me to get over there. Obviously, we had the whole COVID scenario and everything else going. So it was hard getting over there, but
it just landed at the wrong time, didn't it?
It was just. I think when I look back at it, I obviously, like I say, it was my dream. I wanted to get over there. The whole COVID thing was going on. It really wasn't. Yeah, it really wasn't straightforward at all. But I don't regret it. I went over there, I proved to everyone how much of a fighter and how much of a gladiator I am by doing what I've done. So hopefully now, when it all happens again and I go back over there, people know what I'm about. They know that I'm a fighter. I'm willing to throw down anytime, anywhere.
I think that's why you've got so much respect off most of like the American bare knuckle fighters, because they've seen you go over there on your Todd. Like, obviously we don't need to get into what happened, but you basically went through shit and still turned up on the night. Do you know what I mean?
No, I literally, Luis Palomino, at the time he done a video and was like, why won't anyone fight me? Doesn't anyone dare fight me? And I just literally commented and said, I'll fight and I'll come by myself. And that's what I did. And, when you really think about it, something like this is never going to be done ever again. You know what I mean? In the middle of a pandemic, I had 2 fights without a training team. I quarantined in 2 different places. That won't happen again. And one of them was for the world title, and the guy was banging people out in 20 seconds. And I still went over there on my own in his hometown. Put
a good fight on.
I paid my dues. You know what I mean? I'm a legit fighter.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So what's he like? Because to be honest, Luis Palomino, his footwork, everything, he's amazing, and he is class.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, obviously things were stacked against me, but the way that he fought, he just used all my weaknesses against me. Do you know what I mean? And that to me is a disciplined professional fighter. You know, he's gone in there first round, he's used a clinch on me because he knows that I'm not used to the clinch.
Yeah, the MMA shit.
Then, you know, he just stayed clear of me, just popping me with ones and twos, marking me up, and just stayed clear of me. You know, I was, you know, charging him down, beating my chest, wanting a fight. Well, you know, that wasn't going to win him the fight. So he just stayed clear, done what he done. And, you know, it was a clear win for him, you know.
Yeah, because they're totally different fighters, aren't they? You've went over there and, like, you've fought bland, really, haven't you? Because the like Louis Palomino, that felony, the
Felony.
MMA fighters, and the awkward, aren't they? Like, awkward stances and the way they move,
Yeah,
unpredictable.
you know, to be honest, like the Felony Bennett fight, like, again, I had no training team or nothing. I trained myself out in Vegas for about 6 weeks. And I didn't really know anything about MMA. So I had my friends messaging me like, I can't believe you're fighting Crazy Horse. That's mental. I've been I was like, I don't even really know. I'd only really watched his bare knuckle. And yeah, I didn't know nothing about him. And then I got in there and he was super awkward. He didn't want to engage. Do you know what I mean? It just made
Yeah,
for an ugly fight. But he was, but he can bang. Do you know what I mean? And he can sneak these one shots in that can knock you out. I mean, you know, I
yeah.
have videos since, and I've seen him one punch knock people out. You know what I
He
mean?
was close for that. Is it Johnny Bedford? He nearly had him, didn't he?
Yeah. Saying, like, you know, people are like, oh, he's lost it, he's lost his fights. But then, to be fair to him, he'd fought like a world champion, dropped him. You know, I actually got contracted COVID 2 weeks before that fight and got a negative test about 4 days out. I wanted to fight that much. I mean, at the time, I was sharing a hotel with Mark Godbeer, who was fighting.
Yeah.
We both got COVID. He got double pneumonia on his lungs and ended up in the hospital. And I sort of managed to shake it off, like I say, about 4 days out, and got a flight to Mississippi and went and fought. I mean, it wasn't my best performance, but I'll take it. You know, I've literally only just got over COVID by about 4 days, so I'll take it. Do you know what I mean? He's an MMA veteran, that Charles Bennett. You know.
Yeah. The thing as well, obviously, for the UK lads and that go over there, there's not much gap, is there? Like, to get in there, get comfortable a couple of weeks before you step in. 3 days or 2 days, isn't it? You fly out before you fight.
Like the work. I mean, for me, like the first fight against Fenley, I actually had to quarantine for 2 weeks in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then get into America. So I've done that 2 weeks training and that out there. I mean, you know, you train in heat and everything else, so that was good. And then I just set up camp in Vegas. Christine Ferrer, she looked after me. She took me for sparring and things like that, and I sort of just trained myself and done my own thing. Went and done my fight. And then the second time round, I quarantined in Dominican Republic for 2 weeks, just trained myself, and then I went straight over to Miami and fought about 4 days later. So, yeah, but it was an interesting story. Yeah, it was an interesting training camp. Let's say that.
But it's you've gained all the respect. You've showed how much of a good fighter you are in them circumstances, mate. So imagine what you're going to be like in a full camp, mate. And
Exactly, and that's Luis Palomino and my management now, Florida Yachts International. They've seen that. Do you know what I mean? They've seen that. You know, that's what I can do with my back against the wall on my own. What can I do when I've actually got a team supporting me? So hopefully now I'm going to be looked after and get what I deserve. You know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. So do you know what weight you're going to be fighting at in BKFC or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to be fighting at like 154, 155, which is the weight I fought at Luis Palomino at.
Yeah.
I felt great that weight. I feel like that's my strongest weight. I know that obviously Palomino's got the title in BKFC. There's thoughts of him perhaps going up to 165 and him vacating to the 155 belt.
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, count me in. You know what I mean?
It's all the divisions now in the BKFC. They're all getting fruity, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, you know, I fought 2 of my fights in BKB were at 165 as well. You know, I can go up and down the weights. I could probably go, you know, I fought Fenley at 150. You know, we'll see.
Did you make 150 easy then, or was it a struggle?
The 150, I mean, I'd say it was more of a struggle because, like I say, I had COVID at the time. So I had to lose weight whilst having COVID and stuff like that. So that wasn't great. But I actually felt really good against Palomino at 155. I made the weight really well. I mean, I'm a professional. I know how to make weight and stuff like that. But yeah, I did feel strong that last fight.
Which fight was it? Because it was one of the BKFC fights. Didn't you just come out of surgery as well?
Yeah, just the Fenley fight. I'd had my jaw broken both sides about three and a half months before that. So I still can't feel my lip now. I can't feel my lip or teeth. And yeah, it was quite funny. Like I say, I went to Dubai about 6-7 weeks after I had the operation on my jaw. Went and I was training, and then I started sparring in Vegas. I hadn't even, you know, had a punch on it, and I was in a Mexican gym called Johnny Tacos, letting these Mexican amateurs and pros around. So it's like, yeah, it was, like I say, it was an interesting training camp.
Mate, you should make like a fucking film, man, a documentary or something.
But so yeah, I've got one documentary made of when I fought Sean George, and I'm speaking.
Yeah, Knuckle Up or something like that, is it called?
Unbroken, yeah.
Unbroken, that's the one.
So I'm speaking to Vice TV this week. They're about doing a documentary film about me out in America, following me out in America. So that'd be huge. I mean, Vice TV is massive. So yeah, that comes off, that'd be really cool. But yeah, I just look. Yeah, I've got an interesting story. I think we're in an age where we're looking up to people like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all these fighters that have massive amounts of clout on Instagram, but in terms of fighting, they have no clout whatsoever. And I think we're looking up to the wrong people. Do you know what I mean? You got people like myself who are literally putting their lives on the line to make their dreams happen, and you know, trying to inspire other people to be the same. So I think, you know, hopefully my story gets out and it gets told, and people appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Mate, that Unbroken didn't that do millions of views?
Yeah, so like
Imagine your story with all everything that you've done, mate. Fucking Spielberg will be on the phone, man.
this, you know, like that documentary, you know, won the best of European internet and stuff like that. You know, it's real life stuff. You know, people want to see how, you know, the trouble is, I think people see fighting and how fighting actually is two different things. You know, I as a professional glove boxer, like I say, I was fighting on like Sky Sports and in these big massive venues and everything else, but I was earning peanuts, you know. And I think people think that you're living a different life, but fighters are struggling like everyone else and trying to fight as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy being a fighter, and I think that needs to be highlighted. So yeah, you know, I'm always going to stay true to myself, and I'm going to show you that this isn't as glamorous as it seems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really, really, really hard. And I've got a couple of friends who've obviously pro boxers or ex-pro, and literally there was lads who were doing unlicensed boxing who were getting more money after they paid the trainers and stuff like that.
That is the disgusting bit. You know, I really don't know what to say to people, to kids who are growing up now and saying, "Oh, I want to be a professional boxer," because I feel obliged to tell them that, you know, have a real think about this, because this game is hard. Like, you're not going to make a lot out of this game. You're going to give a lot, and you're not going to make a lot. And
you have to be a ticket seller or basically amazing amateur background, or you just get used as bait.
yeah, that's so. It's hard, yeah, it's hard, but you know, it's when it's your dream. Like I remember when I was like 14, 15 years old as a kid at school, you know, I was adamant I was gonna be a professional boxer. And when people would be like, what are you gonna be when you're old? I'm gonna be a professional fighter. I don't need school, I'm gonna be a professional fighter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that was the dream. And then obviously I turned pro at a very young age, 19, and I got to find out very young that it's not what it looks like from the outside looking in, you know.
Yeah. So did you ever deal with Frank Warren? I
I
think he
did.
didn't fight on any of his shows.
It was just Eddie Hearn. I started off actually on Hennessy shows.
Yeah,
When
me
he,
too.
so I made my debut on a Tyson Fury show. And then because my gym, Tony Sims' gym, then moved over to Matchroom and was the Matchroom gym and everything else, I then moved over and fought on Matchroom shows then.
Yeah, because it's sad, mate. Like you see with a few fighters these days that they get built up. That as soon as they lose, mate, 2 in a row, something they just fucking forgot about, man. It's so
Oh,
sad. It's
I,
sad.
I spoke about this with someone the other day, and I just said like the reason why I like bare knuckle in MMA as well is that like you can you look at the top fighters, they've all got like 6-7 losses on their records, but the reason they got 6-7 losses on their records is because they're fighting the best from day one, and your bravery is rewarded. Do you know what I mean? You take a hard fight in boxing and you lose on points, that's you right back down at the bottom fighting 4 rounders again. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I watched the press conference. I can't remember who it is who's fighting now, the main card. Oh, Lawrence Okoli and Jordan Gill.
Yeah.
And Eddie Hearn says to him, "Don't mean to put the pressure on you, mate, but this is a do or die fight for you, innit? It's either this or..." And like I'm thinking, that poor lad, man, like fuck me.
Jordan Gill's literally from the town next to mine. He's from Chatteris. I'm from like about 3 miles away from him, and
Quality boxer as well, isn't he?
he's what? Sorry,
He's quality, and like
he's
he's
a
a
great
boxer,
fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's had a lot of bad luck,
being dead unlucky. Yeah,
but how it is, do you know what I mean? And look, Eddie Hearn's in the driving seat at the end of the day. What he says goes, and all us fighters have to just bow down to it and be like, yes sir, no sir, and that's just, it's horrible that it's like that, because we're, in this jungle, the lions are controlled by the snakes. You know what I mean? That's as far as I'm concerned. You've got people like Eddie Hearn saying, "Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. This is what you're doing." And like I say, we just sort of go, "Yes, sir."
yeah, 100%, mate. You see it all the time now, but they're not afraid to show it now, are they? It's just
That's
it is.
why
It's
I'm
confusing.
trying to speak out. Look, the platform that I'm creating for myself, I'm gonna speak out, because it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And I mean, look, if me as one voice has got so many stories to tell, there must be hundreds of thousands all over the world with stories to tell. You know what I mean? And this fight game is not getting any better. It's just getting more and more about money, more and more about being marketable and everything else. And you're getting talented fighters that are just getting dismissed. And like I say, it's just not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse from here.
Yeah, it's mad because you'll see good talent and they'll get like put in with other good kids dead early on. You'll see these kids who, like, no disrespect, aren't the best of boxers, but they'll go on 10, 15 fights undefeated,
Yeah.
fighting like journeyman all 15 fights. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Making top dollar.
I was talking to one of my friends, and he was talking about he wanted to turn pro, and I just said to him, look, if you want to make anything out of this game, you've got to go down the journeyman route or be the away fighter, because you're not going to earn no money out of this game like any other way. You know what I mean? This I fought on big shows, with big bills, and I didn't make any real money, like substantial money out of fighting, glove boxing, that is.
Do you think there's more money in the bare knuckle now for, like, apart from obviously the top prize fighters? But
Yeah.
do you think if there's more like for British level fighters, more money in the bare knuckle?
I mean, look, when I was fighting BKB back in England, I was on good money. Do you know what I mean? But I come from a big platform where I was English champion and everything else. So I think they sort of paid me, more because of that, obviously. But yeah, I was on a lot more than I was boxing, and now I'm fighting in America. It's better again, because again the platform's that much bigger. But
Like
then
it's
back.
he got 800k,
Fight
didn't he?
back as a glove boxer, I look back at some of the fights, and some of the money is disgusting. It is disgusting.
You're talking a few £100, mate. Some fighters, and you have to pay the trainer and shit out of it.
Saying it's, it's not, you're not turning up on a Saturday night and having a fight and taking a grand home, £2,000 home. You're putting 10, 12 weeks of hard work in for that £2,000. Do you know what I mean? When you break it down, there's no wage whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's sad, man. It is sad. But like I say, Chad Mendes, he fought in the BKFC. I think it got put out in the papers or something. He made 800k. That was just for his fight. And Ngannou fought for his UFC 600k, mate, for a world title.
I watched Chad Mendes fight last week in Miami. I was out there and I watched it live, and it was like, I mean, he's my weight. He's my weight. So if he decides to have a second bare knuckle fight, I would eat that up.
He's made for a boxer, isn't he? He's made for a boxer.
To be honest, he's very, very, very basic. He's a wrestler who's took up bare knuckle. Let's face it.
Overhanded in it all the time.
Yeah, just like big shots, and I mean, he landed a couple of big shots that fames, and I mean, to be honest, that fames just looked like he wanted to be in there and go, "Oh, I done 5 rounds with Chad Mendes," because he didn't really look like he wanted to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, chuck my name in the hat for that fight, because I tell you, he's not ready for me.
Mate, that'd be class. That'd be fucking quality. They might make that for your comeback fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've had a few names that are being chucked about, and that, like I say, Chad Mendes, 1,000,000%. I don't think he's ready for that, but if they think he is, happy days. Another fight that, to me, like, is a great comeback fight. I think Tom Shoaf. I think me and Tom Shoaf.
Yeah.
Guy's been in like fight of the year, 2 years. We'll go. I mean, so that's an exciting fight for me.
He'll stand and trade as well, Tom Shoaf, won't he?
100%. And they're the fights that I want. I want someone who's going to come and put it all on the line like I will. And yeah, that's a great fight.
It was very unlucky. Did you see his fight with Joe Elmore? How unlucky was he in that fight?
Yeah. Like, again, like two great fighters. Joe Elmore, I know Joe very well. He just comes out looking for a tear up. They're the guys. They're the guys that I've got the fight of the year awards and that.
Yeah. What do you think of Mike Perry? What did you think about him and Julian Lane?
Yeah, it was a great fight. I think Mike Perry
done a lot better than what I thought Mike Perry would do. I thought he'd done a lot better than what I thought he would have.
Yeah, he did me. I think he's very up straight, chin in the air. I think like he's going to be great for bare knuckle because he's always going to be in great fights. I mean, the guy's tough. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't really say both me and Luis Palomino were talking afterwards, and we were both saying like, these guys would not live with us. Our technical ability at bare knuckle is very, very much higher than all these other guys. Do you know what I mean? Our fight, you watch me against Luis Palomino, it's a very, very technical fight. You don't see a lot of this technical stuff happen like when Mike Perry, Julian Lane, it's just stand and bang, which is very
brawlers.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch. Don't be wrong, the fans love it, but in terms of boxing IQ, like I would say we're the top level of that.
Yeah, 100%. They shot him in a bit at the deep end though, didn't the first fight, Julian Lane?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I think as long as he carries on doing it, he's going to be a bare knuckle favourite because he does just stand and fight. He's spitting blood everywhere. He's a mad man, so he definitely suits bare knuckle.
Yeah, 100%. We've got a couple of the UK lads going over now. Connor Tierney's making his debut in the BKFC and against Jim Allers.
Yeah.
That'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I spoke to Connor. We were just messaging the other day. I rate Connor. Connor's a great fighter, and not only that, he's got a lot of heart as well. Everyone knows he come back from that loss against Franco, and he's just turned around, and he's done great for himself. So he's got a massive amounts of heart. You know what I mean? And I know Jim Allers quite well as well. We've been become quite friendly since the whole Palomino thing come about at the fighting match. It's an interesting fight because Conor Tierney's got all the advantages in terms of, you know, the height and the reach,
ability, boxing brain ability as well,
brain and everything else. But Jim Allen's, if he ties you up and gets you in that clinch, which I know something that, you know, it takes you by surprise for definite. You know, when you've not been used to it, and then all of a sudden that clinch comes into play, because, you know, against Palomino, I sort of come in with my head getting nice and low as I do, you know, to come up with my shots. And that dirty boxing, I didn't even look for it. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not used to it, I didn't look for it. And that's something you just got to get used to very quick. And like I say, it just, you know, he got me in the clinch, ripped me with 2 uppercuts. And that to me changed the fight, because I couldn't see out of my eye for like 2 rounds. It was just the blood, and, you know, made a mess of my face.
You see a lot of lads getting caught with that in the BKFC, like, and it's like they don't know what to do once they're in it, and
That's
like
what
they just keep on getting it. And
yeah, it's a bit of a shock situation, because we're just not used to that happening, you know. And not only that, another big thing to get used to is the big circle ring as well. That took a lot of my game away from me.
It's huge, isn't it? The ring's huge,
Massive,
isn't it?
huge. When you get in there, you're like, wow, this really is big. But yeah, so, you know, you look at my fight, you know, my best performances, and, you know, with Sean George and that, and that's down to being able to diamond off the ring and cut off the ring and get them in the corner, get them on the ropes. And when that gets taken away from you, that's you know, it's a big lot. It's a lot of your arsenal taken away from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, them ropes solid then,
They're
because
solid.
they don't seem to have much bounce in them.
It's like a cage. Yeah, they're like metal.
Oh, fucking hell. So
Which,
that's all took away from you as well.
mad, yeah, because you sort of like, they make a big thing of like the toe the line situation, and then you're like, boom, you're out in this big circle ring. But who am I to moan about it?
Is it like a boxing canvas as well, like a bit of a spring in it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of spring in the canvas and that, but it's, yeah, there's not ropes there. It's like a metal sort of caging, and, you know, it's a big circle. So like I say, trying to corner and diamond people off, that gets taken away.
So you're going to be getting into a lot of the clinch work and that when you're going over there.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that, you know, I just need to come to terms with. Already when I went out there a couple of months ago to Miami to spend, I just spent a couple of hours in Palomino's gym with his coach, and, you know, they showed me the things that they worked on for me, and it just made so much sense. And they showed me little things with the clinch and that, like, again, makes so much sense. But when you've not been brought up doing that, when you're in a fighting scenario, you don't even look for them things. Do you know what I mean? So I just
doesn't come naturally.
It needs to be drummed into me. I need to be in a lot of sparring things where I can try it out and they're trying it out on me. But it's just not the done thing. When you go to a boxing club down here, you don't start grabbing people by the head and start uppercutting them. You just can't do that. So,
but you'll be in the right place and with the best people for it, mate.
The MMA guys who do this day in, day out.
So you're just packing up and going, because you have a gym and like a clothes shop and that, don't you?
Yeah, I literally started a gym. Well, I mean, I actually opened officially about 3 months ago, but I put a lot of time, money, work into it, and a few things happened, and it just didn't take off like I wanted it to. And to be honest, in the end, I was obviously getting this massive opportunity of going to Miami, or I had this business that was just funneling money and wasting money, and I just thought, you know what, this is my dream. And I just cut my losses and went, this is the end of it with the gym, and I'm just going to go chase the dream in America. I can't give this opportunity up. I would regret it for the rest of my life.
Even if the business was doing well, mate, it's an opportunity that you couldn't really turn down, innit, really?
You know, I've been fighting 21 years now, and you know, I'm here. I've got the opportunity to go live in, train in Miami now. If I wasn't to take that up, I would be a fool of myself.
Yeah, and it seems like you're really happy over there, mate. Every time you're in America, you're always happy and full of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you know, look, I'm when I'm there, I'm in Miami. I'm surrounded with, you know, positive people, with fighters and people who want to do things. You know, right now I'm back home and I had the gym and the gym was failing, and you know, I need to be around good, positive people, and I went out there, like I say, at the week. I've watched Palomino defend his title, and the guy has just sat down with me afterwards and built a plan of on things how to change my life, and I just need to be around them kind of people that, you know, have really got my good wishes at hand, you know.
100%. I always say to people, I worked in America for 2 years on the bounce. I done Canada for a year as well,
Right.
and just over there, it's just totally different people. You could literally go in a bar on a night out by yourself and never be lonely. Someone will just come over to you, talk to you.
Family, I went, oh, you ain't got to worry. You go out on a night out, I'll make friends.
Yeah. Even
It's
just going for a coffee, something to eat, they'll
it's
make you
great.
feel welcome. It's amazing, mate.
And it just makes your day, you know, when someone wants to have a chat with you in the mornings, and it just makes your day. Everyone's very positive, everyone's very friendly. Um, and yeah, I just like it, you know.
Totally
I,
different life, mate, innit?
I'm a bit of a crazy character. I'm a bit larger than life, and I'm from a very small city, country city. You know what I mean? I can't really grow because the place I'm in doesn't. You know, I'm one in a million. Do you know what I mean? So
Is it where you're actually from? Is it pronounced Eli?
Ely,
Ely. And is it like countryside place?
is it what? Sorry,
Like a countryside place or city type?
very much countryside. I mean, look, you know, I'm from a small farming family. My dad was a farmer. Do you know what I mean? I'm very humble background, and you know, and I not saying I want to ever forget where I come from. You know, I'm from the country, but people, how can I explain it? Look, people want you to do well, but they don't want you to do any better than them. And I'm
I
a
want to
very
see you do good, not as good as them.
I'm a very outspoken, you know, big character, and you know, I'm trying to get to places like Miami and things like that, and I'm just finding that I've got a lot more haters than I've got friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I got away, mate, like I've always said, like Middlesbrough will always be my home. Like
Yeah,
I love the place. Just surrounded by negativity, mate.
yeah.
Like going through Facebook, just seeing like
Oh, horrible.
everything's just negative, putting people down. Ah, look
Yeah,
at this, ha ha, this, that, and like every other week, mate, in our town there's like suicide and there's
yeah,
mental illness through the roof, the
yeah,
suicide capital, and
yeah.
it seems that nobody ever learns from it, mate. No one ever learns from it. You know what I mean? It just seems to be a horrible country to live in at the moment.
And it's just sort of like, you know, you can let it drag you down, or you can try and get your best out of it, and get out of it and grow. Like I say, I do, you know, and you know, people are going to hate me for saying this, but I do feel like, you know, it is dragging me down, and I need to just go and flourish somewhere else, and I can be me. Um, yeah, be the person I want to be the fighter I want to be. Because right now, you know, I've got people dragging me down.
100%, mate. Grab it by the fucking balls and go, bro. 100%.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be very exciting. You know, like if I don't make it in Miami, I'm not gonna make it anywhere else in the world. So this is the big opportunity that I wanted all my life, and I'm gonna grab it at both hands.
100%, brother. Before we go, mate, is there anything that you wanna any shout outs or out you want to give or anything you want to tell the followers?
Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to my sponsor, Daniel Lawrence Plumbing and Heating. This guy, I tell you what, like I say, in the last 6 months of my life, been very hard, losing my business, trying to maintain focus on my fighting and everything else. This guy has absolutely been there for me 100%, like financially and you know, emotionally, everything. So Daniel Lawrence Plumbing and Heating, I just want to say I'm very grateful of these people, because without them I would not be on this journey to Miami.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And I really appreciate you coming on, mate.
No, thank
We'll
you.
have to definitely stay in touch, mate, and catch up again.
100%, mate. 100%.
Nice one, Rob. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend anyway, bro.
Take care, brother.